right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Obviously, it's a couple hours past noon where I am in the world. Welcome once more to another live stream of Alexandra Mayers Live Thoughts from the Car. I'm in the car, obviously, at this moment. And I'm going to bring up my little chat and share some thoughts while I'm having a soda. Before I get back to where I'm staying, because I want to later today start on, I don't really want to call it a trolling project because it's not really trolling, but it kind of is, because I specifically do want to analyze a certain person who owes me, from my perspective, an apology. But it's not necessary. No one has to ever apologize to anybody for anything. You don't have to. But my request has modified. It's modified because the one thing about life is that as you traverse down life's paths, you realize things about yourself, what you really want, what you really need, what you really require versus what you think other people want you to require. Usually what we think we want for ourselves is in actuality not at all what we want for ourselves. That's something I do know about life. So, something that occurred to me today is that part of the project that I'm not going to spend a ton of time on, but I just kind of want to do it. I don't really even know why, but I just kind of am fixated at this particular point. I want to compare and contrast openly, publicly, with you out there who watch me, the differences between a few men that I have gotten to know over the years. I think that would be a very good learning experience for me, for the individuals that I'm going to mention and focus on, for them. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting because we live in a world where popular opinion often dominates and it influences how we view the world. And considering an article that I read early this morning, I didn't read the whole thing because it was so long, but I read enough of it to rethink a few things myself. And I was thinking to myself, I am so glad I don't have a popular opinion, because that would be boring, wouldn't it? I like having an unpopular opinion. But a certain unpopular opinion right now in regards to a few men who are linked to this IRL community, um, it needs to be re-examined, especially when it comes to what it is to be a mature person and a person of good character and a person who really empathizes. I think in our society, everyone expects women to be very considerate, compassionate, and whatnot, but they often give men a pass. And I would like to see that change at some particular point in time. It might not ever. But there's just something I've noticed when it's come to someone else I've focused on over the past couple of years versus the person that I'm focusing on or fixating on more so right now. And for some reason, people are majorly, and I do know the reasons as to why, but they're majorly faulting the person who, at one point in time, I really fixated on, and I just don't want to fixate on him at this particular point in time. That's why I decided, to label him as canceled. But people are saying things that should be applied to the person that I'm fixating on right now, to the person that I used to fixate on. And it's not an accurate labeling. I feel like if you're going to label one person something and another person has worse qualities, why are you not labeling the other person with worse qualities that same thing? And I think a lot of it has to do just with the person I'm fixating on right now being forgiven for certain things that have to do with his aligning himself with the government, basically. The other person didn't align themselves with the government. Actually, the other person has better leadership capabilities than the person that I'm fixating on right now, and that's going to become really, really clear as I embark on this particular project. It's a really weird situation when I really think about it. It's real weird. Maybe it won't be weird to some of you, but it definitely is weird to me. Definitely. Definitely. Let's see what else is on my mind right now. I really don't like a lot of these bored housewives who are online. I don't like them. Because so many of them are so judgmental when it comes to women like me, and very aggressive when it comes to women like me, yet they're very forgiving to men that they really shouldn't be forgiving of. But I think it's because they have crushes on these men, and I guess that they're mean to me because they look at me as being in a position to where they wish that they were in my position, but they passed up the chance to be in my position because they sought security. They sought social acceptance, and they sought, for the most part, pretty easy lives. I think a lot of these women look at my life and they think that my life is a lot easier than it is. I had one of such women have the nerve to put a comment on one of my videos saying, "Don't listen to any men," says the bored housewife. If you're a bored housewife who has to listen to the person that you're the wife of, please do not try to dictate anything to me. Just don't do it, because it's silly. It's silly. And I'm not against housewives. I'm not against marriages. I think it's great. I think more people should get married. At some point in time, I want to do a political news time podcast about why I think for a while there needs to be a cap on how many quote unquote mail order brides are brought to America. Not so much because I have a problem with the women who want to come over here, but I've just noticed something when it comes to their children. Their children often are raised with a very bad attitude. A very bad attitude. And, within the IRL or Carterverse community, we've seen one of them. We've seen one. And I've made peace with this particular person, at least in my own way. But just considering the level of racism and prejudice she embodies, considering that her mother is actually a minority and whatnot, I just kind of look at that and I kind of feel like the reason that she's so outwardly racist has to do maybe with her mother just accepting being treated a certain way. And maybe her father having treated her mother a certain way, and possibly having talked about other people in a certain way out of bitterness or anger. So now she's reflecting it into the population, and that's not good. These are all just things that I've noticed. No, I would not pug man. Absolutely not. Actually, my last interaction with Mr. Rizzo, and keep in mind, my whole like premise in regards to him really had to do with me thinking that he would be a good match for me if he was substantially younger. That's a very old man. Very old man. But my last interaction with him, he said something incredibly hypocritical and unkind to me. So I will never be communicating with him again in my life. And I know why he did. I think it's because someone else who I will never be speaking to again, a woman who I had quite a lot to say about over the past few days. She probably reminds him of someone that he either knows or maybe a relative, or maybe he views her as someone who could, feasibly, theoretically be like his daughter. And he heard some things I had to say to her, and he wanted to defend her. And nothing's wrong with defending people, especially if you relate to them in some capacity. But it was just very telling. So I won't ever be communicating with him or his affiliates or associates again. I don't. A lot of people say, "Oh, you burn bridges so quickly." No, it's just that I cut connections very quickly, and I stick to the cutting of my connections. Once someone does something or says something to where it just hits a certain nerve with me, it's just better for me not to have that energy in my life anymore. I'm very aware of that. I agree, Blue Shell. I agree. I try not to have negative people in my life, but you have to remember that nothing can ever be like all positive. You can't have all positive. I don't want to have all positive. I don't want to have all negative either. You have a certain balance. Sometimes you're out of balance, but you know, you know. So yeah, and these are just thoughts going through my head at this particular moment. I can't believe how much I've been live streaming lately. I didn't anticipate it. It's funny. I was telling that girl, Lala Looking Up, I spoke to her the other day. And I was telling her that I really don't seek to be a colorful character within the live streaming community. But, maybe I do need to be a little open to being a certain character for a while. Because I do find it therapeutic to an extent. I definitely do. I see why people do live stream as much as they do at times. But you have to be in the mood to do it. I don't think that you should really look at it like something that you have to do at a certain time every day. Unless you're just that kind of person. With me, no. It's just something that you do when you feel the want or the need to do it. I like seeing who comes in my chat. It's interesting to me. Right now, Blue Shell is in here a lot. And I like Blue Shell, whoever Blue Shell is. I find them interesting. Makes me wonder, like, who else is going to come in my chat sometimes. I don't know. You know what I think sometimes? Sometimes I think that there's people that I know that I did cut off that make alts and aliases and come in here under different names, and I don't know that it's them. A lot of people think, oh, of course people who have mean things to say to you would do that. But I don't think these people always have mean things to say. I think sometimes they're helpful, but they just know that if I knew it was them, I would not be as receptive to what they have to say. That's what I think. That's a bit of a boundary or a barrier that needs to be torn down at some point, at least in my opinion. So let's see, what else is on my mind today? What else? I had a really good week last week. I had a good weekend, in my offline life. I anticipate the rest of this week to be pretty good. Pretty good. And I'm just kind of at peace with certain things, and I'm enjoying certain things. I'm enjoying kind of stretching my mind a little bit. You know how like you exercise and you stretch your body? You also do stretch your mind. You know, you stretch your emotions too. A few of the projects that I'm going to be working on, the rest of the year and however long that it takes me to complete them, I'm exercising a part of my mind that I haven't exercised in a while, so that's fun for me. I'm also experimenting with some new ideas and tactics and whatnot that I haven't done before. So we'll see how those go. I like testing limits and testing boundaries on occasion. What do you all feel like talking about today? Hi, Hover Eagle. How are you doing? How are you? I think I'm going to flat iron my hair again tonight. I feel like it. I like wearing my hair natural, especially when it's really hot out and stuff. I really like to. But I feel like flat ironing it again. So I'm probably going to do that. Maybe I'll live stream it. I haven't done a flat iron chat in a while. So I might do that. Someone came in here upset. They're using a male Asian name. That usually points to it in actuality being a white female. I probably shouldn't reveal certain things about identifying trolls, but I will. And this is probably going to change up the game because now I'm revealing what certain people do. But it's a certain pattern with trolls. It's so weird. For some reason, there's a very high probability that when you see someone online that is using a name or masquerading as an Asian male, it's a very high probability it's in actuality an American white female. Very, very, very high probability. There are even stats on this. And I wonder why that is. I'm sure that there's some sort of a psychology behind it. I'm sure that there is. Usually, if you see a troll that is using a fake photo of a black female, it's typically a white male pretending to be a black female. It's funny. Tone IRL, I don't know who that is. Who is this person? Who is Tone IRL? Tell me about this person since I've seen you. Yeah, you know what trolls never use? And again, there's stats on not stats that a lot of people would be able to access. There are stats on this. No one ever, ever, ever hardly uses a fake guise or a fake photo or a fake persona of a Latin male. Nobody ever thinks to do it, which is interesting. No one hardly ever does that. You know, I don't take a request so much when it comes to things being investigated or me focusing on things. Insulting when people do make requests because I feel like that. Not at all. I really do find it very insulting. Really, I don't want anyone to ask me to do anything. At least not at this phase of my life. Maybe later, but not right now. I'm not here to fulfill one's. Okay, so here's what Jacob is saying. Someone is a hillbilly drug addict. Well, first off, you're whoever you are, you have some biases. But they're calling this person a drug addict from North Carolina. And I guess the girlfriend is claiming abuse and him hitting her and everything. Well, I mean, if you are aware of this, why don't you help? Why don't you get in your car or rent a car or get a plane ticket and then rent a car? If you know about this horrific thing happening, right? And you're a guy, you're claiming to be a guy, why don't you go and help? You know, why don't you be the knight in shining armor? Why are you coming to a little black woman who everyone's attacking anyway? What is this? What is this? Why are you afraid to get involved and help? Because if you really cared, you would help yourself. You would be involved. You've seen me get involved in things that I've cared about. You know, this is not, I'm not Batman. Can't send up a bat signal to me and jump into motion. You know, come on. Why don't you step up? Everyone has the capacity of being a hero for somebody else. You know, but I guess it's easier for you to just sit at a little computer or on your phone in the AC somewhere, wherever it is that you live, and watch. It's interesting. It's a nice day here today. It's a nice day. Some days I really love being in Texas. Today's one of those days. Today I really love being in Texas. I feel very Texas-like today. I feel like my energy is really resonating with my surroundings today. I don't feel like that every day though. Yeah, it is. It's a nice day out today. It's pretty hot. You know, I'm sitting in the car with the AC right now, but it's pretty hot out. Super humid. There's probably going to be some sort of rain or thunderstorms today. Yep. I'm really excited about doing more political news time podcasts because I really like politics and stuff a lot. I'm so glad I put that website together when I did. That was smart on my part because sometimes I don't feel like doing it, you know, but I can always pick that project up whenever I feel like it, whenever I feel like there's a need for it. I have a friend of mine in the adult industry who's been, she hasn't been hounding me, but she did request that I get the word out when it comes to a certain little issue. So I have been putting it off just because I've been focusing on other stuff, but I do want to get that done because nowadays I'm just not so much in the mood about thinking about adult entertainment industry issues and whatnot. But there's so many women in that world still need a voice and everything, and a platform to voice their concerns or their grievances and whatnot. But that particular time in my life, you know what I find aggravating? I find it, and I know people don't mean to say this to me. I think they think that they're complimenting me or something, or, showing what a fan they are of me by saying this. But I really find it aggravating when people say, "Oh, I hope you make a comeback as Monica." No! Don't say that to me. It's like, really, why would you say that to me after it's been over a decade? I've done so much in my life outside of the adult entertainment industry, far more in my life outside of it than within it. So, like, when people say that to me, I just think to myself, obviously, you haven't been keeping up with my life, which is fine. I don't want people to keep up with me so much. But still, it's like, hey, I do take it as a compliment if you think I'm attractive enough to do it, but I'm older now. I'll be 44 next year. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Yeah, I would say Skelly and I are still friends. I would say so. I would say so. We had a conversation recently. I would say that we're okay. And actually it's something that Skelly did say to me. He paralleled what I requested, something that could theoretically requested of me. So that's why I've retracted what I initially requested, and I just want the apology. Just apologize to me. 24 eyes. Just do it. Do that, then, not. But it's not an ultimatum. It's not, I can't make anybody do anything. It's like, do this or else. No, no, no. But he knows damn well why. He knows why, and he should. He should. I don't really care what he has going on in his life. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, he's ex-military. Oh, he's got this problem or this issue. Well, guess what? Everybody has problems. Everybody has issues. Okay? God knows I have a lot of problems and issues, which is why he should apologize to me. I am strong in a certain, because no matter what, I'm going to troll the hell out of anyway. Oh. Oh. You know what's going to end up consequently happening by my choosing to do what I'm going to do anyway, apology or not? It's going to be interesting to see how popular he actually does end up becoming, because that's going to be an interesting side effect. That's what happens when people tend to do what I'm going to do. All right, Jay Levy says, yeah, I have a feeling he won't. I actually have a feeling he will. I think it's just going to be a very long time from now. This is a new situation for him. He hasn't dealt with something like this before. It's brand new. Brand new. But it's going to be fun. You thought I was in my early 30s or late 20s? Aren't you sweet? Blue shell. You said the right thing to me today. Smart person. Nope, I'm going to be 44 next year. 44. I don't really care one way or the other at all. I don't want to ever hear from that woman as the Jokeress again. Ever. Ever. I don't want an apology from her. I don't want to look at her weird face. I don't want to look at anything having to do with her. I don't want to hear that voice. Ugh. It's interesting to me that some people find that particular dialect or accent attractive. I don't. I don't. I think that you have to be an American of European descent to find that attractive. Because different people find different things um, audioly appealing. Some people would hear my voice and they would hate it. Because I do have a certain tone to my voice, but some people hear my voice and they find it very pleasant. But that dialect that she has, I don't find it attractive at all. I find it very, it's too thick for me. Too thick and too rough. I don't want that. You know what dialect I enjoy hearing within women? I like hearing, not all the time, not if the voice is very high pitched, but if it's a medium to drawl. Um, I really dislike New York and New Jersey dialects. I don't like that. Never have. To me, it sounds very rough and grating. I don't like it. Never have. Uh, what other dialects do I like? Um, have a dialect if they're speaking English. I do enjoy listening to that. But I don't like all Latin dialects. I don't like how a person from Argentina enunciates if they're speaking English. Some people do, but I don't. I don't. Um, I used to like Canadian dialects. I used to, but not anymore. Not anymore. Now I can't stand it. And I think it's in part to just having encountered so many Canadians who are just jerks. So that's been ruined. That's been completely ruined. You like French accent? It can be pleasant if the person has a soft tone or a soft voice, but sometimes, no, no, no. There's not so many. I guess, it depends on the person. It always depends on the person. Yeah. Oh, somebody thinks that's my trigger now? That's what you think? You think it's going to trigger me if you say to me, sensitized? I'm just sharing some thoughts. I'm probably going to get a lot of negative, mean trolling because I'm really going to go hard on that issue about the online borders needing to be forced when it comes to foreign criminals. Because there's so many foreign criminals on the internet and they want to keep things exactly as they are. So I'm already kind of ready for that. But yeah, those online borders do need to be closed. And there definitely needs to be some sort of a verification system for the social media platforms at this point against marginalized people, particularly people of color. There's been too many shootings lately. We're seeing where it's coming from. These people are not in the United States who are inciting violence. It's weird. It's real weird. I mean, really what there needs to be is some sort of a vigilante group just to take care of these people. And I have a feeling that that's already kind of in play. Because if I'm thinking it, other people are thinking it. Definitely. That's kind of been the beauty of this pandemic. A lot of things, relating to deaths and whatnot have been written off as COVID. So, we're kind of living. Look, if you're a criminal nowadays, you need to be real careful because we're living in a time to where a lot of things are being cleaned up. We're in a certain window. That window's not closed yet. Not at all. Now is not the time to be a flashy criminal, or at least not to have people after. No, because it's kind of a free for all for a little while. It's a free for all. It's funny. I was saying at the beginning of this pandemic, I was like, you know what? No one I know has disappeared or died. But I was thinking about that again recently. They have. They have. Because I was wondering. I was like, no, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Some of these people seems like someone would have done something by now. And I didn't think anyone had, but they have. So, sometimes progress takes a while. Hmm. Hmm. So we're almost in July. Almost in July. Yeah, I have a lot of plans for the rest of the day. Still got to do some work tonight. Um, when I get back to where I'm staying, I'm probably going to at least get started on the project revolving around an individual who needs to apologize to me. Yeah, I'll do that live. I think that would be fun. Maybe I'll update a wiki or two also. That woman known as Bombshell, she's got a wiki now over on ip2.info. I'm glad somebody volunteered that information in regards to her history to me. That was very, that saved me a lot of time. I might have to go through it and edit it at some point, but it's on the wiki. And I linked it to the account that posted it. Yep. You know what city's been in my mind lately? And I will be in Texas for a while. But I'm thinking next year, I want to go to Chicago. That's just been in my head lately. I want to go to Chicago. I want to go to Chicago and I want to lease a loft maybe for 2 months and be there for a while. And then I would come back to Texas. I don't know if I would go in the summer or the spring. I don't know. I also want to go back to the Port Townsend area of Washington. That's on the west side of the state to visit my friend. I sent her a couple texts. She was, oh my God, I'm not going to go into detail about it. But I have a friend who was spot on about something that she told me in regards to my life and a certain couple interactions I've had recently. She was spot on, and I texted her to tell her. I was like, wow. Everywhere has high crime, everywhere. And crime is often perspective, and who you are, whether or not you're targeted. The entire time that I traveled from September up until recently, I only dealt with one crime linked mishap, and that was my car getting broken into. And I was actually really fortunate that the things that I had in my car, for the most part, were too heavy for the thieves to take. They only got like 2 items, and it wasn't a big deal. Because you can get home and something bad can happen. It often does. You're right, I am brave. And that's because I want to experience life as much as possible. If you want to really experience life, you have no choice but to be brave or have courage. Not just when it comes to traveling, mind to think about issues that you allow. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, I think my internet connection is up, so that's probably go back. I'll be back once I get where I'm going, and then we will continue this conversation. See y'all in a bit.